Hey there, FOOS. Mizzah Tee here. What's up, guys? Mizzah Tee. I'm back. Been kind of on a little hiatus. Gonna be some big changes to my channel coming up here, so stay tuned for that. This is a follow-up video to my Japanese games. What are those video? In that video, I basically asked the question, what are Japanese games? Wanted to see what you guys thought about that, and I always planned on doing this video and giving my idea of what I think a lot of people think Japanese games are. I alluded to it a little bit in that video. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. That way this one will make a lot more sense. And just click the link right here and then come back to this one. But basically I was saying I've seen musings and rumblings of people talking about Japanese games and basically trying to discredit video games because they're quote-unquote Japanese games. And what I was saying was that basically in the beginning of gaming, without the Atari and Coleco stuff withstanding, when video games really kicked off, and that's with the NES, that era, everything was pretty much a Japanese game. Capcom is a Japanese company, Nintendo's a Japanese company, Konami, Namco. I mean, all these companies were Japanese companies. And when I went to the store, I wasn't checking for, where the Western games, what are the American games. I was checking for what are the fun games. Contra. Contra was one of my favorite games, and it is made by a bunch of Japanese guys. So I saw a lot of the replies and responses to my question in that last video, and a lot of people were saying, well, games made by Japanese people. And I'm like, really? That's what your definition of Japanese games are? Because I don't think so. Because there are games made by Japanese people that are clearly trying to cater to a Western, if not just an everybody market. Nintendo is known for that. Nintendo, being a Japanese company, they don't really try to make Japanese games. That is, games that cater to the Japanese. That is my definition of what Japanese games are. Games that are specifically made to cater to a specific audience, the Japanese audience. And yeah, those games exist. I was on the Juicy Loose podcast, and we were talking about what was it called? Captain Rainbow, the Captain Rainbow game. And that is a game that is specifically designed and to cater to a Japanese audience. And there are games based on, Japanese games based on mangas and, animes and things that only exist in Japan. I would consider those Japanese games, but I don't consider like Final Fantasy series or a lot of the JRPGs, as they're called, to be Japanese games, because I think they have a broader appeal than just the Japanese market. And it's not always just a niche broader appeal, because we talked about the fact that at least today, JRPGs and RPGs in general aren't like the mainstream thing that they used to kind of be. They don't make the sales that they used to kind of get, and that's why you see the quote unquote Japanese developer catering to that. And in a game like, let's say, Final Fantasy 15, which is clearly, I think, designed to cater to a broader audience than what Final Fantasy games usually get. And that goes for the Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. It's more action RPG than it is turn-based, traditional. And to me, that is a direct response, a reaction to, a direct response reaction to the dwindling sales of RPGs and just trying to get, that broader appeal. So, like I said, I don't think games, you can't simply say that games designed by Japanese companies or Japanese people are Japanese games. That doesn't make sense to me, because think about the NES. What are your favorite games on the NES? What are your favorite games on the Super Nintendo? And I would guarantee you most of those games are from Japanese developers. And nobody said back then, oh, those are Japanese games, in a way to almost kind of dismiss those games. And I think that, that segregation, if you will, of calling a game Japanese game or whatever, I think that occurred probably when the Xbox showed up, and they were trying to kind of make their way, and it was a way to kind of I hate to use the term damage control, but kinda to damage control the fact that they didn't do well in the Japanese market. Xbox traditionally has not done well and continues to not do well in Japan. And I think that rubs a lot of Xbox gamers the wrong way. So what they like to do is to try to dismiss the Japanese market, Japanese games, as they say. So I think that has something to do with it, because I don't remember hearing that before Xbox, maybe Xbox 360. Because we know Sony is a Japanese company, and they've always had RPGs, and nobody said, "Oh, these are just Japanese games. I'm not playing those." Dudes I grew up with played those games. They didn't call them Japanese games. They just played games. And you have all these fighters that everybody loves, like Street Fighter and Tekken. These are games made by Japanese people and Japanese companies. And nobody says, oh, those are Japanese fighters. And Killer Instinct is the American, the Western fighter. No, it's stupid. There are games that are specifically made to cater to a Japanese market, usually based on mangas or something that we just don't get over here in the West. And to me, those are Japanese games. But just because a game is made by a Japanese company or by Japanese people doesn't make it a quote-unquote Japanese game. I just think it's silly, and it's just, to me, it's just a way to try to dismiss and discredit games made by Japanese people. Because, like I said, most of these guys who played video games, if they started back in the 80s, like a lot of them that I know say they have, if they started back then Japanese games were in all their houses. They all had Contra, they all had Street Fighter, they all had Double Dragon. These are games made by Japanese people. So yeah, to me, that's what my definition of and my explanation for the somewhat new term of Japanese games. I think that's why it exists. So what do you think? Now that you see my side and you've heard my side of it, what I think, what do you think about my assessment? Leave your comments in the section below. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Oh yeah, one more thing. Play Nintendo, fools.